What if everything you thought you knew about, say, the Grand Canyon, one of the world's most iconic spots, was just completely different?
Uh-huh.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into some sources that really challenge the standard story. They present the canyon not just as, a geological marvel, but maybe something deeper, possibly unsettling.
That's right. We're looking at this unique stack of material that posits the Grand Canyon as ground zero.
Ground zero.
Yeah, ground zero for what they term the last great reset, which in their view is a kind of global cataclysm, the start of a new cycle.
Okay.
They see it as a place of immense power, forgotten history.
Yeah.
And, well, our mission today is to try and uncover the, frankly, surprising perspectives in these documents.
Okay, let's unpack this then. These sources really push back on the usual explanation.
They do.
They don't think the Colorado River did the carving, so what do they claim happened? How did it form?
Right. They actually label it a divine impact site.
Divine impact.
Yeah, they call it the Great Scar left on Gaea. That's their term for Earth from this last great reset. It's described almost like an impact trench.
The trench.
Carved, supposedly, by something they call the wrecking ball, like a celestial body that ended a whole previous epoch.
A wrecking ball. That sounds incredibly dramatic. What kind of event are we talking about here, according to them?
Well, what's fascinating is they say this wasn't just any impact.
Okay.
It's framed as the absolute epicenter, where the rock of the moon, as they call it, hit Earth.
The rock of the moon.
Mm-hmm. Shattering an old world they named ToTo, some lost civilization, and kicking off this massive global flood event called the Aquarius Mode wash.
Wow. And they connect other geography to this.
They do. They even point to nearby Death Valley
Oh.
and call it a scorch mark, like literally burned by the raw solar fire of Beta, another concept from the sources unleashed during the collision.
So, okay, the canyon starts as this massive cosmic wound. What about human involvement? Did people just leave it alone after that?
Well, not according to these sources. They claim that after something they call a mini reset tied to the American Civil War, apparently a group identified as the OK Club started what they termed the Great Excavation.
A okay club.
Yes. They supposedly entered this devastation zone, saw its, quote, immense divine tower, and basically laid claim to it.
And they didn't just claim it. The sources say they sort of rebranded it using Egyptian names.
Exactly.
What's the significance of that? Is it just poetic?
According to these documents, no, not just poetic. If we connect the dots in their narrative, the OK Club supposedly transformed the canyon into a kind of new Valley of the Kings.
A new Valley of the Kings.
Right. They claim the natural buttes, the temples, they were deliberately branded with names like Tower of Ra, Isis Temple, Osiris Temple. And these weren't just names, they were seen as sigils, like magical symbols or declarations of ownership put there by the ringmasters to honor their monarch and consecrate the whole site.
But, okay, geology ownership claims. The sources say the deepest secret isn't in the rocks or the names, but in the people.
This is where it gets really interesting. Yeah, it raises a big question. The sources make this pretty provocative claim about the sacred clowns of the Pueblo tribes.
From that region.
Originating right there. They're described as the living descendants of the survivors of this last great reset.
So they're the keepers of the story.
The lore keepers of the cataclysm, yes. And their appearance, their traditional look, is presented as a kind of cipher, a code, or even a walking blueprint of what the sources call the game.
The game. What do they mean?
It seems to mean the sort of fundamental rules or the structure of reality, these cycles of reset and rebirth they talk about.
Oh, a walking blueprint.
Yeah.
That's quite an image. What about specifics, like their black and white stripes? What do the sources say those mean?
Right. The documents interpret those stripes as representing cosmic duality,
Duality?
alpha black, and beta white. These fundamental forces they see at play. But there's another layer. Strikingly, the sources also interpret the stripes as the uniform of a prisoner.
A prisoner.
Yeah, like a ritual acknowledgement of being inhabitants of what they call the Great Penitentiary. It's a very specific interpretation found in this material.
So in this view, the Pueblo clowns aren't just cultural figures. They're almost priests, embodying this whole reality structure.
Precisely. They're portrayed as the ancient priests of the reset. Their rituals keep the memory of the last wash alive, and their bodies are seen as living maps of this binary reality. It's presented as this profound, living testament to the cycle, that's turned before. Their whole culture encodes this hidden history.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean? We've gone from a cosmic impact site to a kind of branded Valley of the Pharaohs, and now to this living legacy embodied by the Pueblo clowns, according to these sources.
Well, this deep dive really shows how these alternative narratives view history quite differently, not linear, right? But as these deep cycles with echoes embedded in the land itself and in cultural traditions. It definitely challenges us to look beyond the standard explanations we usually hear.
It really does. And maybe here's a thought for you listening. How much history might actually be encoded, not just in books or records, but right there in the landscapes around us, in those ancient stories passed down? What other ground zeros might just be waiting out there to reveal their secrets?